Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to the Grapple Geek out of Scotland. He's the one and only Daihlan. Daihlan, what's going on?
Hey Adam, I'm perfect. You?
I'm good. Glad to have you on. Glad to know that the reception is actually good because yesterday I had to, 10 minutes before, cancel on Super Panda because my internet went to shit.
Oh no! Thankfully, the Wi-Fi here has actually been good for once. Everything else, as far as my laptop and my bank card's not working, but the Wi-Fi seems to be all right.
Hey, there you go. I guess connectivity is godliness is what we can do in 2021. That's it.
At least there's one thing the government's got right here.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, and the jury's still out, folks, after the treacherous 2020 that every government had.
Yes.
I'm just saying, the verdict is still out on that one.
Oh no, but nah, we're all right. At least today was a nice day in the fact that we actually had 16 degrees, which is shorts and t-shirt weather over here.
Oh my gosh, that is I'm not going out. I don't go out anything less than 62. I don't I'm calling sick. Now, obviously that's a bad joke to do now with the Rona roaming loose and whatever, but theoretically speaking, and I could say that now because I don't work for anybody. But yeah, I would be can't come into work, folks. Because it's just too cold to do anything.
To be fair, I'd probably be the same way, but it'd be the opposite reason. I'd be going, oh, can't come in today, I'm too ill, and then sit in the garden and just sunbathe.
Yeah, hey, why not? If it's a good day to get ish done, whether it's work, whether it's in your garden, you're getting it done. So, yeah, I mean, it's, there's some, I guess, nefarious things that one can get into, not calling in for work. So, I mean, I guess planting tulips in the garden, assuming that's what you do, it works.
Yeah, exactly. I live just next to Loch Lomond as well, so if I get my drone, I can get my drone out and just fly it along the river.
10 points there. Shout out to drone shots, man. I saw this.
Oh,
this weird one in Minnesota, right? Where they literally, I think it was the Minnesota Timberwolves, the basketball team, right? Where they had a drone shot and they basically went down downtown Minneapolis in Minnesota, and they went right through the arena. Right, right through the arena, and then they had a couple people, I think the mascot and whatever, kind of playing and whatever, and then they went right back out. And then there's another one. I hope maybe it's from the same people, but they basically do the same in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, and they take a continuous. Well, it made it look like it was a continuous shot, but they went through a bowling alley, right through the pins and everything, and then back out. So dope.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that'd be cool. So I wish someone would do that in wrestling. Even if WWE, if they did for WrestleMania and have it start a drone at the top and then just lowered it down right into the ring, that would be amazing.
I like that. I absolutely like that. But I'm gonna I think what's gonna happen is somebody does maybe a shooting star press, and then and it's a shooting star press to us, and it's a missile drop kick to the drone, and just
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but I mean, we can do it. Daihlan, I think you should book WrestleMania. That's what I'm saying.
People would be terrified if I started booking things. Like me and my sometimes tag partner Manlin once booked a show just as a joke on the way up to a show, and we had who who was it? We booked someone as a postman, as a postman character. I decided that I wanted a team of Road Warrior Animal and Shark Boy as a tag team champions, calling them the Animal Kingdom.
I see nothing wrong with this.
It was we came up with possibly the most bizarre show ever.
You know, it worked for Kaiju Big Battle, right? That's a thing, right? And there's what is
Kaiju
it?
Big Battle DDT.
Yeah, DDT Pro, right?
Kota and Kenny Omega and DDT were fantastic.
What's the other? Hood Slam? Hood Slam's another one. I've got friends that came out of Hood Slam, you know?
I've not seen anything from Hood Slam yet, but
oh my gosh.
That sounds right up my alley.
This is one where you gotta take your almost like if you've got a Jim Cornette wrestling mind, you leave that at the door when you patron Hood Slam. They have a tag team called the Stoner Brothers. And if you're thinking that it's a stoner version of Rick and Steiner, the Steiner Brothers, you're absolutely right. That
sounds amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So just saying, Hood Slam, shout out to the Dark Sheep. Yeah.
Perfect. I'll be looking that up as soon as we're off now.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of looking up, we got our friend DJ Yannix out of the UK as well saying, well, hello there, according to Woods. Shout out to you, DJ Yannix on Twitch. And Tyler McKenzie. Yeah, absolutely. And we've got Tyler McKenzie joining over on YouTube. Hey, Daihlan and Woods. What's up, Tyler?
Hey, Tyler. How's things, bro?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, speaking of how are things, you are somebody of the pro wrestling persuasion, right? So, how does a young Daihlan Hendry find pro wrestling?
I love it. I started when I was younger. I found it mostly just my cousins and people in primary school were big Attitude Era WWE fans. Mm-hmm. So I started off loving the Hardy Boys. Funnily enough, I was always more the Matt fan, and my friend John Martin was the Jeff. Was Jeff. So we always played as the Hardy Boys in the playground for years. Then, give or take, when was I? Was about. Kiri was born when I was 7, so I would have been probably about 10 years old. Between me wrestling my older cousin Liam and my younger brother Kieran, we ended up getting the wrestling banned in the house because we kept breaking stuff. Everything. Like if there was a vase on the shelf, if there was a picture hanging on the wall, 9 times out of 10 it was going to break. Just we were typical rambunctious kids.
Yeah.
So ended up getting banned, and then as I was getting older and into high school, I found Ring of Honor on HDNet.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The glory era. That's what I think is the glory era.
I loved it, especially because when I was from 5 years old, I was started karate at 5, then got into Taekwondo, give or take 7 or 8, and then moved on and started doing jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. I think I was about 13, 14 when I started that. So the fact that ROH also had the ranking system,
yes, and
they portrayed wrestling more as a sport rather than Attitude Era, where it was more the drama, the car crash TV. It just appealed to me. And people like Bryan Danielson, the American Wolves, Nigel McGuinness, all basically just kept me for the entire time. And I just from there, it's just I've basically never left Ring of Honor since then. Even now, I watch it pretty much every week.
Wow, that takes some stones, because it can get rough week to week. But that's every promotion, though.
I'm still a Simpsons fan as well, so things getting rough is I tend to stick with things a wee bit better.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I'm glad. I'm so glad. Now, DJ Yannick wants to know, according to Woods, on the theme of animals, ask Daihlan if he's ever been to Knowsley Safari Park. The monkeys stole my bloody wiper and washer jets. So, do you know of the Knowsley Safari Park?
Don't know the Knowsley Safari Park. We have one not far from here called Blair Drummond, and they're actually got a funny story about that one as well. Is that when we were younger, I was at a playgroup, teenage after school club called With Enable, and we went to Blair Drummond Safari Park, and I got lost because my sense of direction's absolutely terrible. And so as I'm looking for the reception to go to just find someone, I go past the goats.
Not the greatest of all time, but actual goats, right?
Actual goats. Unfortunately, someone had left the gate open.
Oh, no.
So at this point, I'm only 9 years old, maybe turned 10. Lost in the middle of a place I don't know, suddenly getting chased by 4 goats.
And you're not talking LeBron, Michael Jordan, like Larry Bird or anything like that. You're talking like actual with the horns.
Yep, actual bleeping horns chasing me around the safari park. I've not been able to go near a goat since.
10 points. That's traumatic. Absolutely. The last time I went to a zoo, and the monkeys and their kind of entrapment and whatever, literally the monkeys would start flinging poo at me, and I didn't know if it was me or if they just saw the podcast. I don't know which, but either way, that's it, But at least they're watching. Yeah. It counts as a view, regardless if they...
definitely. Gets money in your pocket, eh?
I'm just saying, And Nate Wren of Podium Sports says, I want to ask Daihlan Hendry a question. Bring the question on, good sir. Yes, absolutely. And Tyler McKenzie says, good, busy with work, looking forward to getting back into wrestling, which
yes.
Yes, we all hope, when it's safe to do so, right? And Don McGuire of the Fighter's Voice with Don McGuire, he wants to know, is Adam Woods' accent annoying to you, mate? You can be truthful.
No, I actually really like the American accent. So one of the people I watch pretty much constantly on Twitch is Daihlan Shannon. It's a football manager Twitch, and he's American, and it's fun. I love the accent. As I think we said before, I really want to go to California at some point. So if you can book me a ticket, I'll come. We'll do a live one.
Oh, let's get that in the works, folks. I mean, if you guys know any, and I might know a pro wrestling, promoter or two, and let's get Daihlan over here to sunny California, where the taxes are high and so are the people. Anyway, and giving us some clarity. Yes, the safari park is near Liverpool.
Okay. I need to actually go down to Liverpool. I've not been down that way in a wee while. Last time, like the furthest I've been is Manchester. So
okay, yeah.
And even then I was in uni and that would have been about 5-6 years ago.
Damn, it happens. I mean, 5-6 years ago, in 2020 and 2021 terms, literally feels like maybe a decade ago. So I'm just saying, But again,
I became a father just before it, so it even feels even longer than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And go ahead, go for it.
I said back then I could sleep.
Back then you could sleep. Yeah, sleep. It's weird. We just went through like one of those like time. I don't know what do they call it. What is it? The time shift. I don't know. In my head, I'm thinking time space continuum, but it's probably more simplistic than that. But that's just what's going on in my head, which is weird. I don't know why. But daylight savings, that's what it is.
No,
Yeah.
as in going forward and I forget every time. Thankfully, my phone does it automatically. Otherwise, I'd be in 2 different time zones at once.
Well, see, at least you thought about it critically. I just think that, maybe George St. Pierre was right and the aliens are changing the time. I don't know. Just saying.
I love GSP.
Yeah.
Some of it, like, people rag on saying that GSP didn't have any charisma, but some of the lines he came out with was fantastic.
Oh yeah. Oh, he keeps on giving. And I can't find the clip anywhere. Maybe it was like in his stories, and I hard to look at anybody's stories on social media. It's just because if I wanted a story, I would go read a book, right? So if
exactly.
look at my stories. No, I want to come and look at your social media page. Do it in a way that it doesn't cause me seizures when I see the blinking lights and people talking in 30 seconds. But yeah, well, that's just me. Maybe I'm old. Yeah, well, yeah. And
if you're old, so am I, because I'm the exact same way. If I want to escape things, I've got a whole library worth of books in my room. I don't need to keep looking at everyone's stories.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, and if for you guys that do the stories, God love you. I just, kind of tremor. I tremor a little and I pee just a bit. When I do it, it's just maybe that's a seizure. I don't know. Maybe it's just my natural reaction, is what I'm saying. And DJ Yannick says, according to us, does Daihlan know Brody Adler that was on the other evening? Are you familiar?
Yeah, so me and Brody actually trained together over in Source.
Whoa! See, there's the connection. I love it. Shout out to Source Wrestling and this Scottish Wrestling Network, who's been tweeting out all of the cool podcasts. Shout out to you guys. And Daihlan, you've been on the Scottish Podcast Network, haven't you?
Yeah, so I had an interview with them. Just came out at the start of March. So everyone go and watch that after you've finished here.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the good supporters of Scottish wrestling, Scottish heritage as it relates to wrestling. So definitely give them a subscription. I mean, that's according to Woods. I'm just saying, right? Cool. There you go. Here's a cheesy tagline there for those of you that want one. And it's not just monkeys who throw shite at me. No, DJ Yannick, you're not alone. I'm just saying.
No, my daughter did it to me this morning.
See, 10 points, right? You just kind of duck and move, right? Which is where your striking kind of, je ne sais quoi kind of comes in handy, doesn't it?
Oh, of course, yeah. It's even funnier. The wrestling actually comes into it when we're trying to change her bum, because she does not like to be on her back at all. So trying to keep her steady, it's a case of, right, hip control, you stay there, chain, and now you go.
So maybe Hendry is more of a catch wrestling practitioner more so than a jiu-jitsu one, because jiu-jitsu you can fight off of your back, but you get pinned if you're in catch.
Yeah, I would probably say out of most martial arts, she is probably going to end up being a catch wrestler. She's already learned how to defend an armbar as well.
10 points.
I was trying to hold her down the other day, and she's already managed to bridge up and turn without. So it was like, that is slightly worrying how quickly you're learning this at 1 year old.
Yeah, maybe it's the genes, man. That's what I think. I mean, if you're the daughter of the Grapple Geek, you kind of have to be able to, show yourself, is what I'm saying. Even at 1 year old. I'm just saying.
There's definitely not a problem with her showing herself.
Yeah, there you go. 10 points. 10 points for the little one. And I appreciate this. DJ Anna says, according to Woods, it's the only Twitch stream I would watch. I'd be coming to the party. I'd be up for coming to the party too. I'm going to send you the social media deals, man. I'm going to have you on the podcast, good sir. Just saying. And he also says he's from Brumley, near Manchester, and he lives in Hull now.
Oh, fantastic. That is cool.
Absolutely. Now,
You've
Nate
got a far
Renwick.
better football team than me do.
Yeah, it's so man of you to admit that. Good sir. That's a bit kudos to you for admitting that.
Oh no, the Dumbarton, we're Scottish League One at the moment in Dumbarton. So thankfully we've just started being allowed to play our matches again. So that until I'm back at work, that's my plan for a Saturday afternoons, go and watch Dumbarton.
Shout out to that. Shout out to that. You know, I mean, it's not abnormal. Like I've grown up in LA for the most part, not necessarily a Laker fan, right? But shout
fair
out to
enough.
Vanessa Bryant, right? Which go check out her social media because the cops that arrived to the crash scene like took pictures and shared it amongst each other. So she basically shared what could be shareable of the police affidavit yesterday and named the names. Yeah,
Fantastic.
so shout out to you, Vanessa Bryant. I mean, horrible loss that horrible tragedy to lose your husband and your daughter in a helicopter crash. We're not making light of that at all. But
No,
good for you to take a stand on the people who perpetrated your privacy and your husband. Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, you don't take advantage of people like that. That's just wrong. That's no, well done, Vanessa, for putting that out there because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, but my goodness, like, and even some of the fibs that some of the guys, basically said in deposition, like, oh, I didn't share it at the bar and whatever, and somehow, some way, and it shows in the affidavit. Well, guess what? They were giddy. Like the guy who the police dude shared the picture with, like the server or whatever, basically they got the affidavit and the subpoena for the footage, and it literally shows him like giddy and running over to the other table to show. So yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's mental. One sec. Got to plug my phone in.
Well, yeah, it's funny because Matthew Baker says you're like Elsa, you're frozen. It might be frozen. There might be something there. Which is it just a phone call? No.
Let it go.
Matthew Baker's got jokes. Now,
love it.
Yes. Nate Wren wants to
start singing "Let It Go."
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, like Elsa. We'll do the Let It Go. Now, Nate Wren wants to know. It's more like two questions. What do you think of the groundskeeper's Willie character from The Simpsons, and how did you get the nickname the Grapple Geek?
So for the first question, groundskeeper Willie is probably actually one of my favourite characters from The Simpsons. Not just because he's Scottish. It's like the amount of times you have a big moment, and it's groundskeeper Willie coming up with the best lines. My favourite is still the brothers and sisters are natural enemies, like Englishmen and Scots, and Irishmen and Scots, and Scots and other Scots.
Yeah.
Damn Scots, you ruined Scotland.
I'm sure Scotland's it's an unnatural depiction, but I'm sure Scotland is a very awesome place.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I think we get more of a reputation because we like just to take the mick out of each other a lot more than most. And most people turn around and think we're actually being like mad at each other when 9 times out of 10 we're just taking the mickey.
That's a plausible theory. I like it. And that so the groundskeeper Willie, right? So he's a proper depiction of Scottish people on The Simpsons, isn't he?
As much as Apu and the High School Petalon is an Indian depiction of
Apu?
Obviously Apu. As much as that, every country's kind of got their stereotypes, and they that's just how their comedy was at that stage.
Yeah.
And if people in the country 9 times out of 10 will laugh at it because It's not true. As far as I'm aware, I've not had to wear a kilt outside unless it's for a wedding.
See, there you go.
So,
I mean, just. But have you done what is the games that you guys have where you throw logs and stone and stuff?
tossing the caber. Funnily enough, I've actually have done it. It's only the juniors one I did when it was, again, I think it was like 14, 15, where we had a Highland Games in Luss, and they were letting anyone try it, so I got to try the smaller cabers. I got it over. Unfortunately, it went over and tipped back on itself. So it pretty much almost squished the crowd rather than actually going over and counting as a proper throw.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's considered manslaughter here in the U.S., right? But I mean, theoretically speaking, you didn't get that over. But in the wrestling ring, that's kind of the perpetual goal, is to get yourself over. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, there you go.
As far as the Grapple Geek goes, I've always been a big fan of anime. So there's obviously started off with Pokemon, as most kids do. So it was Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z as I was growing up. And then as I've gotten older, I've gotten into a lot more sports-based anime. So like Kuroko no Basket, Haikyuu, what else have I watched recently? Free, basically all different animes based around sports.
Whoa.
And I've got a bad habit of just bringing quotes up on just bringing quotes up even if the situation doesn't really need it.
Yeah.
I'll bring it up. So between that and the fact that I've done grappling since I was 13, 14, it's just put the two sides of my psyche together, and it's the Grapple Geek.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? You know what you do in terms of anime references in a time that necessarily doesn't warrant or permit it. Well, I did the same thing with wrestling quotes. Like you're talking to a guy that, hey, if I'm at a funeral, I'm all like, did they rest in peace? And I don't recommend anybody do that, but I just like, it's a weird situation. I'm like, let me go for it. That's the only thing that I have to contribute. If not for my wrestling quotes, like I mean, a case could be made for me being an invalid. So, just saying.
To be fair, I probably wouldn't speak English anywhere half as well if it wasn't for quotes, because that is how I end up reacting. Like, me and my fiance actually met in primary school.
Oh wow!
And then
yes.
we got back in contact a couple of years ago, purely from we went to a gig together during high school that was coming back around, and B, Harry Potter, because we're both just big Harry Potter dorks.
I like it. That takes like the high school sweetheart just one step further, where you have that extra layer that you guys knew each other in primary school or in other parts of the world, elementary school. But it's like your sandbox, crush becomes your high school sweetheart after all these years. My goodness, this seems like a Christopher or whoever wrote The Notebook. Like, that sounds like you guys could do that. Like, you guys should pen some of this stuff. That's a screenplay.
Don't tell her that; she'll make me watch it.
Oh yes. So let's stick to anime.
Yeah, I'm possibly the worst person on planet Earth for trying to get to watch romantic movies. My ADHD just does not like it.
I hear you. I mean, I kind of like the Justice League, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? So it like right around midnight, it premiered, and I saw people on social media right before I posted about this interview, like they were all in at midnight, and I was like, then I looked at the thing because it's the director's cut, and it's 4 hours long, and I was just like, Oh, I'm gonna probably look at my phone. Like I still,
Yeah.
I my brain kind of like tapped out 15 minutes into the first Matrix movie, and I've yet
Right.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like after that worm thing gets sucked out of Neo, like I was like, that's so cool, especially for the time period. And I try
Yep.
to watch it 7 times, and I will fall asleep right after that part. 7 times.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm the same with Lord of the Rings. I've read all the books. I can
Mhm.
read the books fine. You get me to sit down and actually try and watch the movies, and they barely leave the Shire before I end up having to turn it off because I just can't keep up with it.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. But also, what makes perfect sense? DJ Yannick has the $1 million question.
Mhm.
And as he does every podcast where he chimes in, he says, "Final question. At According to Woods, and I think you know what's coming next, and yes, I do, good sir. What color socks is Daihlan wearing?"
Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a heathen at the moment, and I've got bare feet.
There you go. There you go.
I don't wear socks unless I'm going outside. Just as a usually I've got slippers on, but I've kind of lost them in my room somewhere.
Yeah,
So,
as
but
well.
apart as with as I say, with jiu-jitsu and taekwondo, I barely ever wear. I'm always barefoot, so I've just grown up just not needing socks.
Yes, like barefoot for any like especially jujitsu because you can wear shoes when you're catch wrestling or
Mhm.
regular wrestling, right? But
Yeah,
but for jujitsu, any jujitsu practitioner, both nogi and gi, basically being barefoot is almost like the Nike, like you're rocking
yeah,
Nikes.
exactly. It's you try going with the if you try rolling with shoes on in jiu-jitsu with especially with the gi, 9 times out of 10 my gi would get caught in my laces because I've
Yep.
got my gi's a wee bit too long on my legs, so it would just get caught and it'd be horrible. That would go horribly wrong.
Yeah. No. 100%. 100%. And DJ Yannick's response: "Touche, Dylan. Touche.
Thank
I love it. Absolutely." Uh, and everyone is always barefoot. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, I so I've got beat up Vans. I've got checkered beat up Vans. That's what
Oh,
I'm.
they're quite cool. I like them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. I
Got them
haven't.
for
I need to
30
actually get a new pair of
bucks.
Vans.
Oh,
Nice.
$30 at like a consignment. Well, not it wasn't a consignment store. It was Ross. So like they basically take all of the stuff that are in the department stores and what have
Mhm.
you, and then once they go out of season, Ross kind of picks it up and sells it for a cut rate, and that's
So
literally
sort of
that's
like
it.
our TK Maxx.
Yeah, absolutely.
TK Maxx or
Yeah,
like
TJ
in
Maxx. That's
Glasgow.
it.
Yeah.
TJ Maxx and Ross are actually the same company.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, yeah. So here in the States we've got actually so it's DD's Discount,
Hmm.
Ross, and then TJ Maxx. They're all owned by the same company. Even like the security garb is almost the same with like slight variation
Yeah.
for like right. So it's I would say okay, if you're gonna go like Banana Republic, Old Navy, and whatever, like
Nice.
Ross
Yeah.
would be that midway
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you can get a T-shirt for $7.99 and not like and
Yeah,
not really bat
exactly.
an eye.
Yeah, it's like I got this jumper out of Asda, which is or at least was owned by Walmart. Uh,
Wait, you
but
guys
I
have
think
Walmart there too?
well, Asda used to be owned by Walmart. I think Walmart sold it to some other businessman a couple of years ago. But it's the same sort. So it's just a big department store, and they've got the clothes. I get most of my clothes out of there because it's like 12 quid for a jumper or like 20 quid for a t-shirt,
Yeah.
and it's nice, cheap and cheerful. And because I go through clothes constantly, I end up ripping everything. So I don't really want to spend a whole lot of money on clothes if I don't have to.
Yeah. Oh, there have been times where I've walked into Ross with like $20 and I
Uh
needed
huh.
an outfit for a show that I was doing interviews for. And I
Yeah.
walked out with not just like a shirt and slacks, but also, and I'm sure DJ Yannick would appreciate that, socks. You know,
Nice.
yeah, like a Cheech and Chong pair or like a Rocky Balboa. I've got some.
Nice.
Yeah, so in $20, like with
Oh
tax.
yeah,
So
that was the same as me. Like I went to when I finished high school. I went to we had a big leavers ball, and everyone else was talking about how they spent like a couple of £100 on their outfit.
yeah,
I deliberately I went round charity shops to get all my stuff
10
and
points.
actually managed to get a kilt, sporting, socks, shoes, shirt, everything for £40.
See, that's
And
I like
it
it
didn't look any worse than anyone else there. It looked like
exactly.
it still belonged with everything was a couple of £100, and I'm sat going, no, I don't want to spend that much money.
Yeah, 10 points for you because you probably spent a little bit more at the bar because of it, or if not, oh, if it was
Well,
open bar, then man, you made
we'll
out like a
we'll
bandit.
not mention that. We'll not mention that bit because that was before I became straight edge. So
Okay.
we'll just we'll scoot over how much I spent at
Yeah.
the bar that
We'll
night.
yeah, exactly. We'll conveniently pivot. Yeah, you know.
Yes.
Yes. And DJ Ganik says, Adam, trying to find you on social media other than Twitch. Where can I find you? And not just some troll on Twitter. Well, guess what? I made it easy for you, DJ Yannick, and for anyone who is inquiring such things. According to Woods, literally on everything: YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. According to Woods.
Next one.
There you go, man. So shout out to you. Follow, I'll follow you back, good sir. You're awesome. And the Los Angeles accent complements the Scottish accent well. I agree. I
I
do
agree
agree.
with it.
Yeah, I like it. I like
I
it.
agree with you, Matthew.
Yes, Matthew. Now, Matthew also wants to know, who is your favorite Pokemon, good sir?
Raichu. With it, I love growing up. My big boss battle
Hmm.
for the thing. What my big memory of a big boss battle was Pikachu versus Raichu, and
Mm,
I seem to have a thing with like sort of anti-heroes. So Raichu, the fact that Raichu was the first big villain going up against Pikachu, and like he was this supposedly unstoppable monster,
hmm.
just spoke to me as a young kid, and
Yeah.
I've never really grown out of that to the point where I first saw the Alolan Raichu, and I'm still get irrationally angry over it because they've just made him into this cuddly thing.
Yeah. So I used to think oh no, my son thinks that I'm Snorlax, which I was like, great. That's amazing. Sit there and do nothing? Absolutely. I'm in. But I'm like, nah, I'm probably not that. If I were a
I,
Pokemon, I'd probably be Shitty Mon. Just saying.
Shinima?
Shitty.
All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I call my wife Jigglypuff because
Ooh.
every time when she gets angry, she gets the big puffy cheeks. So whenever it's like no one's paying attention to Jigglypuff, you get the big fluffy cheeks. That's just her face when she's angry.
Wow.
So
Okay.
she's now Jigglypuff, which made the wee one Igglybuff.
Wow. Which you are a brave soul. If I told my wife she's Jigglypuff, I would catch a flying frying pan, probably a skillet, like whatever's heaviest, right aimed at the dome here. Which there's
Oh
nothing
yeah,
there.
I make sure I'm at least the social distancing away from her before I say it, and then
10
I'm running the
points.
other way as well. I'm not that brave. It's just a case of me. I know what her distance is before I need to worry.
See?
And now
So
that she's heard this, I'm probably not getting dinner tonight.
yeah, hey, we want to keep you fed. We want to keep you
Aye,
fed. That's you're a brave
aye, you're
soul
fine.
you are.
I've got my cat there. We're all good.
Okay. So wait, I heard about cats that they're so vicious that if you die, they will eat you. There's like no whatever. But will you eat cat? Which I'm sure PETA is just loving this podcast right now.
Surprisingly, cat is not something I've tried.
Yeah, there you go.
I've tried some odd meat. Like kangaroo was a weird one.
Kangaroo?
Kangaroo was a weird one. There's a restaurant, an Aussie themed restaurant in Glasgow. That I've been to a few times, and they do a kangaroo burger.
What?
Yeah,
What?
it's gamey, but it's actually quite nice. The only one snake I didn't particularly like.
Why? Because it was slithery?
No, thankfully I didn't have to catch it myself.
10
I would
points.
I would have cried for it. I've been near a boa constrictor and it scared me. But it tasted like really rough chicken.
Yeah.
And it was just no, I wasn't a fan.
That's not good. DJ Yannick says, I sent you a message on Facebook, and according to Woods, literally exposing my identity to you. And guess what? Your secret is safe to me, good sir. So just so you know.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun dun dun. No, I don't expose kayfabe here. That's not what we do. That's boo. If you're doing kayfabe, we're fucking doing kayfabe, man.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, damn right. And I think I've done gator. I've done alligator, which
Oh, what's that like?
it's like catfish, to be honest with you. Like, cause I had it. It wasn't like I had like, like sushi, sashimi, or whatever, But it just tastes like catfish. Like but then again, like if you batter everything and then dip it in the fryer, everything kind of tastes like catfish or chicken.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at like we've got Mars bars. We deep fry. We can deep fry Mars bars over here.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I've not actually tried it.
Oh, that's something you should do.
It's one of these things that I'm like, every time I think about it, I'm going to go try it. I'm like, I then go into it and going sugar and the amount of fat that's on it. Then it just goes spirals and going, I don't know how I feel about this now.
So I live in a country where deep fried butter is actually a thing. Like a stick of butter.
Fried butter?
Butter. Yes.
What does that taste like?
I'm just like you and the deep fried marshmallows. I too am all like, this might not be a good look for my intestines.
No. Imagine. Oh.
I'm just saying. And good man, as are you, DJ Yannick. You are a tremendous gentleman yourself. Now, it's fun. So talk to me about the gimmick, which I love, right? Which I don't think it's much a gimmick. I think no more than The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Before he went to Hollywood, I remember him giving an interview. I might be a WWE produced interview or whatever. You might find it on the WWE Now Peacock Network, for those who so kind. But he said that where you get the money is you're yourself turned up to like 10, the volume turned up to 10, if not 20, right? So you are essentially the character. Everything that you like in terms of like scientific wrestling, to Pokemon and all types of manga and anime, you bring it to the ring.
Yeah, so basically, originally I started off when I first debuted on shows. I was doing as an amateur wrestler. So again, it was just the basic bones of I was pinning everyone. I wasn't using any of the submissions that I was doing from jits or anything, but I was doing a lot of pins, a lot of takedowns, and I was coming to the ring with the big amateur wrestling headgear, the singlet, the boots, even found a Letterman jacket on eBay that I bought so that I had the full college wrestler Rick Steiner sort of thing.
Yeah.
So as my career was progressing, I was just starting to add things, and it wasn't until even probably about 2-3 years ago that I was actually me and my tag partner Manlin were having a chat, and it was funny. We realised that we'd actually created a bit of a lore for both our characters. Actually, had a proper sort of comic book lore to it. So we started off. It was me as a complete amateur wrestler, going from, as you guys in the States would do, going from the college circuit,
Yeah.
and then trying to do professional wrestling.
Hmm.
And then Manlin at the time was doing a sort of comedy. He was the flamboyant wrestler
Yeah.
that would everyone connects with, because everyone loves Manlin. It's hard not to love that boy. So we started that, and then as we started teaming from, I think it was his second show and my third show, and we just grew up, and then as we were starting to go our separate ways, I started bringing in a lot more of my submission training, my anime, I started going with my anime, and I started with like my Pokemon hat to the ring. I had a Harry Potter T-shirt that I would come down to. So I went that route. As Manlin, because we'd stopped teaming, started going a wee bit darker and a wee bit more manic.
Yeah.
And now he's doing a whole street. He's the street rat of professional wrestling now, sort of going almost Terry Funk sort of style.
Wow.
And that lore is kind of been inspired by both our love of comics.
I like it. I like it. And again, a good way to, a break of tag team, right? To me, I
Yeah.
think that should always happen, right? Where, if you should, if you're in a tag team, right? And all of the things that happen in the tag team or the faction and what have you, here's a crescendo where you could essentially break apart from everything that you have done as a performer, as an athlete. You kind of have a story arc to something new, right? So that's one
Yeah.
of my that's one of like the reasons why I just cannot dig Roman Reigns. Like it's just like
Yeah.
it's the Shield, right? And
Yeah.
when you talk about like legendary factions, even just in the WWE, not talking like WCW or NWA or what have you, and it's just like the Shield, like the fact that the top guy wears oh, bless you, bless me, or something, but thank you, but you're a SWAT guy with a SWAT vest, but
Yeah.
somebody punches you in the stomach and you sell it.
Yeah.
What are we doing? You expose the
Yeah.
business, folks. Yeah, I'm just, so it should
Yeah.
be a story arc. Like the stuff that he's doing now should have happened literally almost a decade ago.
Yeah, I love his new character. The Tribal Chief story has been probably one of my favorite things to watch recently. Him, Heyman, even with Uso, and then bringing in all the history
Yeah.
from like all the cultural history of the Samoan region.
Yeah.
So with the Tribal Chief has just been fantastic. Because I actually went and looked it up afterwards once. I think, is it Cultaholic or is it What Culture? One of the channels on YouTube I was watching actually went and like piece by piece and showed what was actually taking homage to the culture.
Yeah,
And it
the
was
Samoan
fantastic.
culture. Yeah, absolutely. Which I mean, that's it. It is amazing, but like, so I'm part. Maybe this is it, but my mom is from Fiji, migrated
Mhm.
to the States.
Oh, wow.
Whatever. So like, I know of that Melanesian Polynesian culture, right?
Mhm.
What tribal chief wears SWAT pants with pockets
It's true.
and boots. Now,
It is very much.
I get you don't want to do the prototypical Samoan gimmick, wild Samoans that have been
Yeah.
overdone, throughout the history of wrestling and the Samoan involvement, right from High Chief Peter Maivia all the way down. I get that. But even still, I'm all like, wait, so you're a SWAT, I mean, just, you're a SWAT guy turned tribal chief. And then you've got your cousins who are the Usos, they're brothers, but Uso in Samoan is cousin.
Yep.
And they're from a penitentiary, right?
Yes.
You're a SWAT guy.
Apparently they're jailbirds. And now
They're jailbirds, and you're the SWAT guy, and they're trying to vie for your attention. As this is some weird,
It's true.
yeah. Just I don't know, man. For me, I'm good. Like again, probably the best like character work when I heard like, Robin, was battling with leukemia. I was just like, man, I hope he doesn't die. As a father, as a husband, don't want that to happen. Did I want to see him make a return? No. Yeah. So it's for those who dig that character, kudos to you. But for me, I just can't do it.
I see what you mean, especially with the SWAT pants and everything. Yeah, I do see what you mean with it.
Yeah. And the music, the Shield music was not awesome. And
I don't know. I quite liked the when it first came out. I thought the Shield as this group was good for the music was good for the group. But when he started using it, he was the only one still basically using it. It was a bit weird. Like, if you're going to break up the faction, make sure everyone else has got different music. I don't like just using the same music for one person and then the other two randomly got different music. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, no, 100%. And especially the guy the one that is supposed to be poised as the guy, as the person that is going to be the principal kind of genesis of like the next 5, 10, 15 years of the company, like you can give him his own music. And here's the deal. The Shield music, at least to me, is what happens to me if I attempted to eat fried butter. Yeah. So that's it's rough. It's rough. Which DJ Hedix wants to know: wouldn't butter melt in the fryer?
You would think so.
You would think yes, but it would either be alchemy or talk about cultural American ingenuity that we figured out a way. We haven't figured out like healthcare or anything else or a proper government, but fried butter, we figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You still managed to put people on the moon, so I suppose that's where all the scientists have went after that.
Yeah, I think we burnt out. Like that's it. Like moon, cool, man. You guys, you do that stuff. Like
let's break the laws of physics and manage to coat fat onto butter.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't know. Maybe that's breaking the sound barrier in some respects. Maybe in Tennessee, I don't know. Is what I'm saying. I'm California. What do I know? Surf, whatever. Surf and turf. Like we put steak and shrimp and fries in burritos. So that's surf and turf.
To be fair, that sounds amazing.
It is amazing. That's California. It's just we're weird.
Chuck them with some skateboards as well. You've got to have some skateboarding.
Yeah, shout out to like Baker and there's so many like the Dogtown Z Boys and all that jazz. Right. Yeah, that was not too far, Which Tyler McKenzie says, I've seen something on Twitter and it was one of Roman Reigns' entrances and it had Rikishi's old theme lapped over the Shield music and it was actually cool. Which Tyler McKenzie, Get in those DMs with that link, good sir, because I want to see this. Like, maybe I'm all
Yeah,
wrong.
send me, Tyler. Send me that when you get a minute. Send me it over, and I'll try and find it because that is
Yeah.
amazing.
It is. But then again, like all of the Shield, right? Like all of the
Yeah.
Shield, they had weird, like, okay, so total disclosure, big Bret Hart guy. I'm a Bret Hart
Nice.
mark.
So am
My
I.
son is,
I was-
yes.
I was always a Hart family thing to the
Yes.
point where, as I was saying, when I was play fighting in the playground at primary school, I was always Bret Hart trying to put people into sharpshooters. Which again, even then, I was going for submissions rather than the big moves.
See?
It seems to be a natural instinct for me. Unfortunately, I did lose a tooth in one of those when my friend decided to legit super kick me.
Ooh. Gosh, going the Timothy Thatcher route, are you?
I would love to be Timothy Thatcher. I'm not going to lie.
Don't we all?
I love Timothy Thatcher.
That body hair.
His evolve run was amazing. Him and Drew Gulak's run in Evolve
Yeah?
is probably one of my favourite feuds in God knows how long.
Yeah, I agree. So with that being said, I'd like a guy like the guys who have instrumental theme songs, right?
Mhm.
So Brett and Owen, right? Like Brett had the da na na na, right? And then
Yeah.
Owen had right. Both great themes, right?
Uh-huh.
You go Reigns has the crap Shield music. You've got Ambrose. It sounds like again somebody ate way too many fried butter sticks. Yeah. Okay. And then you've got Rollins over here. It's shite. It really is shit, man. All three of them.
I think it's also the lack of variety in it. They're all going for the really hard rock sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then you've either go really hard rock or they go like super poppy with like sort of like your Sasha Banks, which to be fair is a great theme song, but you've only got your two extremes. You don't really have much in the middle.
Yeah.
And then hence why I love the fact that when Walter came to NXT and the NXT UK, they let him keep Dvorak.
Yeah.
And the fact that someone's using classical music in wrestling is amazing. I love classical music. Growing up, I can't play an instrument to save my life.
Same.
I'm quite badly dyspraxic, so my hand-eye coordination is quite frankly awful.
Yeah.
I tried doing bass and guitar when I was younger, and I can play like 2 songs on the bass out of what are we on 2021? So I'm on 7 years practice, and I can play 2 songs.
Wow, that's way more than my dad being a musician, and I'm literally staring at my the bass that I inherited from him.
Nice.
And I've got one riff in 10 years. One riff.
Smoke in the water?
Just one riff.
Yeah.
Just one riff on the bass. It's like
nice.
Not even maybe a 1 chord riff, but like that's what I got. That's what I'm coming with.
Yeah. Well, that's like me. The only one for ages I learned how to play was Smoke on the Water.
Yes.
Deep Purple, because it is literally just like two wee fret changes, and that's about it for the entire song. And then it's taken me till now to learn Blink-182.
Which one?
What's My Age Again?
There you go.
Again,
that's a nice little chuggy. The bass line for that.
Yeah, it's 1 sec. Sorry, we've got a wee visitor today.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, Kitty. Not Miss Kitty.
Not Miss Kitty. This is Stan the cat.
Stan the cat. It's a male cat. Hi, Stan.
Yeah. He's he's possibly the most affectionate wee soul on planet Earth while he's inside, and then when he's outside, he's like the complete opposite and just hunts everything.
Which I want to say that might be a characterization of not so much Stan the cat, but I mean the Grapple Geek,
cat.
Daihlan Hendry. I'm just saying.
Well, I am slightly competitive, just to maybe a little bit. But yeah, I would say you're probably right there in the fact that outside the ring, I'm fairly chill. I'll sat there and I'll just joke about everything, and then when I'm in the ring, if I don't leave with someone's arm or someone's leg, then I'm not happy.
Yes, it's make you uniquely suited to be a professional wrestler. Which
Yeah.
I gotta ask, like, do you, especially with a grapple heavy gimmick,
Mhm.
and especially you reside in the UK. So are there any, UK wrestlers from a era gone by that you look up to, especially, and kind of source inspiration from?
So, as I said, when I first got back into wrestling, Nigel McGuinness was one of the first people that I came to. And even to this day, I will go and watch. McGuinness Danielson is still probably my favorite, like proper series of matches
Yeah.
ever. But even going further back than that, you look at Johnny Saint.
Yes, I was
Love
hoping you would
Johnny
say
Saint.
that.
Johnny Saint, Norman Smiley.
Yeah.
I love I love Norman Smiley. Like on Twitter, there's an account called Catch Wrestling University,
Yes,
and
I
he did
follow.
a breakdown of Norman Smiley versus Minoru Suzuki,
Yes.
and it was so good. So I
Mm.
went and watched it myself, and like after watching him in WCW and then watching him like in the UWF,
Yes.
Norman Smiley is now my possible one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers ever. Is it's just he's just incredible.
Yes. Oh, and even the work that he does in Mexico as Black Magic,
Mhm.
like in
Yeah,
in Chris Jericho's book. I mean, I think he's. I mean, during that whole run, like
Mhm.
he's one of the most kind of inclusive figures in
Yeah,
Jericho's life during that time. It was Norman Smiley, and again another one who doesn't really get credit for his technical prowess outside of his native
Mhm.
Mexico, Negro Casas.
Negro Casas. Yes, I love.
Yeah.
Like I've. It takes me a wee while to get into Lucha Libre. When I first started watching wrestling, it was too quick paced for me, and I was just trying to think. But Negro Casas, when I sat down and watched him and what was his face? Oh, that's gonna annoy me now. He's in Ring of Honor. He's Ring of Honor champion. Rush.
Roosh. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Him and Rush are the two big luchadors that I've been watching recently, and I love. Like, I think with Rush, it's more the intensity that he brings to everything.
Yeah.
Like, I've obviously had quite a bit of practice with martial arts. Even to this day, I would not go near Rush. Rush would kill me.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, not. I mean, you'd hold your own, but then again, he's Roosh.
Yeah, exactly. He's a big scary man.
Yes. Well, see, like your kind of indoctrination to the greatness of Negro Casas. It sounds.
Yeah.
I mean, if you jumped in at Roosh, there's like almost a damn near 30-year career of stuff that. Oh my gosh! And he's also from like a wrestling dynasty. Like his
Mhm.
brother wrestled, his dad
Dragon
wrestled,
Lee
and
La Bestia? Is that how you say his dad's name? La Bestia? Bestias?
Bestia, yeah, Bestia,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, yeah. But they all went like the traditional. They either went like brawler or high flying
Mhm.
luchador and whatever. Nick Casas will sit there and just like tie you up, and
Yeah.
how different he is from the rest of his family. It's kind of. I mean, it's awesome.
Well, that's what I love about wrestling. There's so many different styles. Like you could. You can do all stuff off top rope. You can obviously you can do your hold. You can brawl. You can go and do all your hardcore stuff on the outsides.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what kind of wrestling you enjoy. There's always something you can bring in, and that's probably my favorite thing about wrestling. There is no wrong answers. There's only right solutions to things.
Yeah, no, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. That's why I love it, right? Where like, of course, there are exploding death matches that don't work. You know,
I felt so bad for those guys.
did you?
Yeah, I was like going into it, and you're trying to give Kenny Omega and John Moxley made this big thing. You're going right, okay. I'm getting into this. They try and give Eddie Kingston the big face turn, and then the finish happens, and you're sort of going, oh. I would like if I was them, I would have been mortified.
Oh, that's not just them. Like it gets glossed over that Eddie Kingston looked like he died on Moxley. Like he was a
Yeah,
corpse.
exactly. Well, obviously, if Kingston's over the top of him, he wouldn't be able to see just how like anticlimactic the finish was.
Yeah.
So he's thinking, right, it's all gone off. Cool. I'll sell, make everything look like it was death, and then obviously what we saw happens, and you're sat there going, oh.
Yeah. So
And I love Eddie Kingston because, again,
Yeah.
he was another one on the Ring of Honor HD Net that I watched. And him versus Chris Hero's feud was incredible. Another one was incredible.
Yeah.
And to see him on major network TV now has been fantastic. But to see him in that position, I was just sat there going, oh.
Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. Oh, Yaz Beats. Shout out to Yaz because giving us a bit of context there. Negro Casas is dead. Yes. Tropi Casas, the great Lucha Libre referee, who, I mean, he almost like Dan Severn just like retired like maybe a couple years ago. Like him, like Dan Severn, Tropi Casas, as well as Tokyo Joe. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They just barely retired. They've been there since like 70 some odd and just, you know,
to be fair,
doing the thing.
To be fair, Dan Severn's mustache will live on forever.
Oh,
Dan Severn is amazing. He's another one that I've sat there going, I will hide in this corner until you go away, sir, because you will eat me.
Yeah. Oh, he's got literally wins in the triple digits. Digit wins.
Yep.
Like
in that,
in
that's
MMA.
Not just, yeah, exactly. That's in everything. Was he not still competing in MMA and
he's coaching now and will do a wrestling match every once in a while. Well, no, I think he retired from both. Right, he retired from MMA first, and then I think it took him about 2 or 3 years. But he will lace up some boots. He was on like the first incarnation of Josh Barnett's Bloodsport.
Yeah, and I watched that whole show. I've watched pretty much every Bloodsport apart from the most recent one. Just I haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah,
but Dan Severn's match in the first Bloodsport was fantastic. The Moxley Suzuki again was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, which I can't wait because we're getting finally Moxley Barnett come next month during WrestleMania weekend. So
I am intrigued to see how that one goes. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully, I would love just to see Josh Barnett murder people again. Because that was, again, when I first started watching UFC.
Yeah.
It was Josh Barnett was one of the first people that I went, oh, that's a bit different. That's cool.
Yeah. No, that Barnett is he's a legend, right? Madam Morris grappling champion,
Mhm.
IWGP, New Japan champion, UFC champion, King of
Yep.
Pancrase, and there's probably a couple of championships
Him,
that I'm
him and
forgetting.
Dean Lister was an absolute
Yes.
cracker of a match.
Oh my gosh.
That
So
was
let's talk
so
about
good.
that. Let's talk about that because I'm glad you know this, right? But you were talking about, the laces and,
Yeah.
you getting caught up and what have you, right?
Yep.
For those that don't know, Meta Morris was a Halleck Gracie of the Gracie family creation where, I mean, long before, Eddie Bravo's, EBI and combat
Headbutting.
jiu-jitsu and even fight to wins,
Yep.
that was the highest of level of sport jiu-jitsu where you actually get paid for it, right? And Barnett faced the boogeyman, Dean Lister, right? In this, I mean, this is like, it was like a blood sport as
It was probably the most anticipated grappling match in years.
and
Like,
Dean Lister hadn't been subbed for 7 years up to that point,
Yep.
right? Undefeated for 7 years. I mean, we're talking, IBJJF or International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation competitions. We're talking, Abu Dhabi, which is again is like the pinnacle of
Exactly.
your submission grappler, right? To be invited
Yep.
by the sheik and all that, and yeah, and at first they were like, "Oh, Barnett, your tights and shoes." Boo
You've never,
that yeah, and then
you're not gonna get Lister. Lister's just too big. He's just
yeah,
too powerful. You're not gonna manage it, and proved absolutely everyone wrong.
mhm. And oh man, it was funny because that's actually when I started training jujitsu, right? And
Oh,
I
nice.
was lucky enough where my friend, one of my coworkers, we were working at this like corporate tech company, but
Mhm.
we were both doing jujitsu. So like at lunch, we would go for our hour lunch break, do jujitsu, come back, and what
Nice.
have you. And yeah, I was just like for all like the pure jujitsu heads, because I'm of that deal. I love jujitsu. One of
Yeah.
the reasons why people are grappling today and why the UFC exists to where it is, and
And
every
Royce
other
Greenlee.
right, every other MMA promotion after it, right, or during it has existed is because of the Gracies, right?
Yeah.
But I am not like people are like jujitsu heads, right? That was the thing.
Yeah.
Like you can't wear shoes or tights, and you only have to wear the gi and whatever. Like you're breaking on tradition and whatever. Like,
Yeah.
well, here's the thing. Guess what? Jiu-jitsu isn't the only grappling art. We've got
Nope.
British catch wrestling. We've got sambo from Russia. We've got judo. There's so many other,
Yeah.
whatever the hell Davidson Figueiredo does in the Amazon of Brazil. Like, what the fuck is that? But he's
Yeah,
choking everybody out.
yeah, I don't know what that is, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if his training partners are all actual boa constrictors. Like, if he's probably sparring these snakes because you look at it and you go, that shouldn't work.
Yeah.
Like, by all laws of body mechanics,
Mhm.
that shouldn't work.
Yeah.
But he pulls it off every time. It's the same with is it Kenny Robertson? How you say it? That he managed to get a knee bar from the back,
Oh yeah.
and you're sat there going, but how? I've practiced that with my grappling dummy a couple of times since then. I just can't figure it out without if I need to actually stuff my dummy to the extremes just to try and figure it. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. How did you? Your body shouldn't move like that.
It shouldn't. It literally shouldn't. And it's crazy. Like especially with like Barnett, right?
Mhm.
How tall he is. Like he is like a
Mhm.
legit like 6'4", some odd, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? He moved so nimbly. Like there's a fun little interview. I think it was done like right before Quintet, right?
Yeah.
And they were on the same team and whatever. And Sakuraba tries to, like Barnett is giving the interview with the reporter.
Yeah.
They're on the mats, and Sakuraba tries to run up and catch Barnett.
I've seen
And
this
how
interview,
quickly
yeah.
Barnett just fucking like they were about to go, and how cool it was. Those two like grizzled veterans, Sakuraba and Barnett.
Probably
both.
the two posters. I was going to say poster child, but it's not really children.
Well, at the time, they were. They
Yeah.
were children.
The two icons of catch wrestling,
Yes.
especially like internationally, the two icons, Sakuraba and Barnett.
Mhm.
Like, I think every grappler on the face of the planet would love just to sit and watch those two spar, never mind actually compete.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's part of Barnett's deal. Like for those who can, I talking to the Dirty Daddy, Chris Dickinson, right
Yeah.
before his inclusion of the last two blood sports, he came out to train with Barnett. Like Barnett put him up, and to train.
Oh, that would be
Harry's-
amazing.
Yeah. So getting yourself on a blood sport card is what I'm saying. Is
Call
good
me
stuff.
Josh Barnett.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Now, Yasmeets wants to know, who are your favorite wrestlers? Do you have like a top 10 or?
I do, but it'll change day by day depending on who I've actually watched that day.
Yeah, me too.
Are we talking current or are we talking all time?
Do whichever you want first. Let's do both of them, and
Cool.
then like whichever one you want to do first.
So we'll go current just now. We'll go today's top 10. So I was watching these guys most recently. So we'll go Timothy Thatcher number 1, Zack Sabre Jr. number 2, Jonathan Gresham number 3, probably then Rush at number 4.
Okay.
Again, he is a big scary man. That is amazing. Number 5. Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh,
Especially coming when he was when he was doing his PWG stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the promos he was coming out with was fantastic. And I also love the fact that the last time he was on WWE, he came out in a Metallica top. That just made me laugh. Where am I now? Drew Gulak number 6. Again, that Evolve run was amazing.
Yeah.
Tracy Williams.
Okay.
Again, his Evolve run was. Here's one that might throw. This is the one that probably throws the rest of it off.
Okay.
But Orange Cassidy.
Okay.
Is like, I can't not smile whenever I see an Orange Cassidy match. It's amazing. Speaking of Orange Cassidy, him and Pac.
Yeah.
Pac's my next one because again, the intensity Pac brings to a match is incredible. I'm not gonna lie, I could never do half the stuff he does in the ring.
10 points.
Like his aerial arsenal is amazing.
Yes.
But even more than that, it's just how, even though he's got all these big moves, he doesn't need them at all. He can go out there, and if he just wants to have a wrestling match, he can have a proper full-on sport of a wrestling match, and it's amazing. And finally, number 10 for today has to be Pentel 0M. Again.
Wow. Okay.
Again, but considering him versus Zack Sabre Jr. on PWG, I think it was a Battle of Los Angeles card, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
And he had the British technical wrestling up against technical lucha libre, as in like Negro, because I think Kenta actually was trained by Negro Casas.
Yes.
I might be wrong, but I know he was from that lineage somehow.
Yeah.
So having the mix of the British versus the technical lucha libre, like as just a worker, trying to study the match, it's incredible just how they blend the two together.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. So I mean, for me, I actually, and this might be unfavorable, but I actually think, for me, my fandom peaked with Penta, him and Vampire, like that. To me, that's whether you want to call it lucha, pro wrestling,
Yeah,
cinematic, whatever the hell, whatever. Cool.
yeah,
The story of, like, Penta having this, like, mysterious whatever the
Yeah.
fuck and whatever, and then finally blooding the shit out of Vampiro, and it's like, it's me, and they
Yeah.
fucking, like, holy shit.
That was-
And even like Lucha Underground, like, I was like, I'm done. Like, if you do this in the middle of your first season, like, you can't.
yeah.
There's nothing you can do that's better than that.
Yeah, they've rushed the gun, unfortunately, on that one, because
Yeah.
you're right. Once they've done that, once you have, like, if you use it as an anime, sort of, to use that anime as a thing, you've got your first season. You've gone from introducing everyone. You've had your first big boss battle,
Yeah.
but your first big boss battle is your main villain.
Yeah.
To take over. You're sat there going, right, okay, so what are you going to do to dethrone Penta? Because then you've got to do something even bigger storyline wise,
Right.
and I don't think they quite thought that one through enough. Even if it was like end of the first season,
Yeah.
and they had that big climax for Penta, and then they could have gone into the second season with, I don't know, even have King Puma getting murdered and then into having to join Penta or something, and then build it up that way. But to do it in the middle of the season was a bit,
Yeah. It
that's
was
a bit weird.
They hot shotted the shit out of that one. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I watched one episode of Lucha Underground after, and I was like, I'm good. I'm totally good.
Yeah, it's. I like the fact that MLW are I think they're wanting to start something with them again.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do with that, because that was the way they're building it up has been amazing. Like, the fact that Mil Mertes came out, I was so happy.
Yeah.
Like, again, another big. He was going to. I would have thought was going to be a big boss in Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
And because if I remember rightly, he was El Macias in Mexico.
Yeah,
was
absolutely. Yeah.
Ricky
Banderas,
he was
El
like
Macias,
the man for a long while, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I love the fact that if they were to bring out, like, even if it was a case of they were going to then have Penta maybe do a face turn to go against El Macias, that might have worked.
Right.
Now thinking about it, I think I've just fantasy booked that in my head now.
See, but that's good though. Like, I like it, booking the territory, which it's funny because before we get to your like greatest of all time, your top 10, Tyler McKenzie wants to know. Actually, Graham Farrell. Shout out to Graham Farrell. Hey Woods. Hey Daihlan. My question to you is, who is your favorite referee, and why is it me?
Because you let me get away with everything under the sun. However, now that you've mentioned it, Graham, I saw with Adam's interview with Brody that you wanted to take things. I've been practicing some new moves. If you're up for taking them at some point.
Ooh. I might have started something. Good lord.
Okay.
I mean, Tyler says, right, that's one big boot in the reserve for you, Graham, when we get back. Oh, I'm sorry, Graham. It's oh gosh. And then
he brings it on. He brings it on himself. It's fine.
Does it help that you were my favorite, Tyler, when you did it?
Yeah.
Just saying. I love the mea culpa that, the mental concession that Graham is making. Once he bit off a lot more than he could chew. I love that.
Yeah. I think he might think that he's Derek Sabato now.
Well, I mean,
He's-
let's go through it. Tyler says, okay, that big boot has changed from an on purpose one to an accidental one. Oh, Potato City, folks. This is it. And he said, I can accept that. I think I'm that all day if you want to practice that, which you're a brave soul, Graham Farrell. I'm just saying, because, like, I learned from the great philosopher, a great piece of philosophical ideology, and that came by way, I want to say, of WWE 2K13, and that is Jerry Lawler saying, "Make your words soft and sweet, just in case you have to eat them later," and I swear by that.
Love it.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, Graham, maybe, but I mean, if you want that, if you want that tail kicking, who am I to say, right? I mean, people like strange things nowadays.
Don't worry, Adam. I'll record it and send you it afterwards.
Please do. I will air it. I will put it on all my social media. Like, my friends score out in knockouts and like because California is pretty much shut down here, right? So a MMA smoker fight happened in a parts unknown is what we're gonna say. But I saw that and I posted it right on the the social medias, right? So
Fantastic.
I'm not, if my friends are doing stuff and they want to kick ass and whatever, I will be glad to share it. Tag everybody in it. And again, it's not just me. Like, if you look at any of my social media pages, it's not just my podcast that I promote. Like, everybody's fucking podcast, everybody's things, because that's the thing. Like, whether you're a wrestler, MMA fighter, jiu-jitsu, whatever, like, you guys are paying the ultimate sacrifice with your bodies, the sacrifices that you make. Your weight training, you're doing this, so you can't do the family stuff or whatever. So you guys are getting in the ring, putting it there. So if you guys have a project, I am sharing the shit out of that. Is what I'm saying. So Graham, send me that video.
I'll do the exact same. I'll share absolutely everything. Like, if anyone puts anything on Twitter, I'll try and share it as much as I can. Because again, for wrestling to work, and not even just wrestling, MMA, any sort of sport to work, you always need competition. So the better the competition round us, and the more people round us, it's only going to make things even better. And again, I've kind of nicked that from that's a Haikyuu, a paraphrasing of Haikyuu. Who was it? Alexander on YouTube does like in-depth character details. So shout out to him on different members of Haikyuu and like their storylines and stuff. And one of the ones I was watching today was talking about how they use like the prodigious talent who knows he's God's gift to the sport, and how he uses that, how they use that sort of archetype to promote everyone else. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever.
I like it.
I could just imagine someone like Zlatan Ibrahimovic trying to cut a promo, and it just made me laugh. The idea of that just makes me laugh every time.
I like it. Speaking of, it might make some people laugh, but I think it's absolutely genuine. But a friend of the show, our friend Brody Adler, says, Daihlan, I was so busy with RuPaul's Drag Race finale that I forgot to log on. No spoilers because I've paused it just for you, brother. Elbow cough.
Thank you, sister.
Yes.
I'm actually going to be watching that as soon as we're done as well. We've got it recorded on the Skybox.
Yeah.
One of the queens that's on it this year is actually from my hometown of Helensburgh.
Wow.
So
okay.
Lawrence Cheney went to the same high school as me. I think his older sister is actually friends with my fiance Roxy.
No way.
Yeah, so we've always been Team Lawrence the entire way, and the boy has done, the Queen's done us fantastic. He has done us Oh, so proud. Big up Lawrence. When
Yeah, that's awesome when you get to see people of all walks, achieve what they were born to do.
yeah,
They're
exactly.
born this way. Which and then Tyler says, "I've sent that link of Roman Reigns through Rikishi's theme song. Thank you.
Fantastic.
You're doing the good work, Tyler McKenzie. I have Which and Graham says, Daihlan, I will turn my head away if you ever want to use a chair. If you're nice to me and you have my back. So that is a vow. I don't know how that works for the standards and practices of the promotion he's going to be working for, but kiss fizz, kid, kiss fizz.
Yep, I shall keep that in mind, Mr. Farrell. Shall keep that in mind.
Yeah. And Nate Wren says, after COVID blows over and I can start flying abroad again, I'd like to go have a pint with Daihlan Hendry. Your pint will probably be alcoholic, Nate Wren, but as a straight edge, he'll probably have sarsaparilla?
No, I'll have a Pepsi Max. I'll have a Pepsi Max, or if I'm feeling good, if I'm feeling like an adult that day, I'll go for a non-alcoholic Copperberg.
Okay, see.
But Nate Wren, give me a BDM. We'll sort that out, brother.
Yeah, see, there you go. See, friends, we're all friends here, and and Graham Farrell says, yeah, since you've both watched since you watched Brody's interview, I will ask you a question I asked her. Who's your favorite and most hated Pokemon? Which he did ask. So thank you for consistency, Graham.
Nice one. As I said earlier, my favorite Pokemon is Raichu.
Yeah.
Again, when I was younger, he was my big bad, and I loved it. Apart from the Alolan Raichu, because how dare they do what they did to that poor Raichu? That's horrible. Billy from Scottish Wrestling Network actually showed me a Pokemon that I hadn't seen before the interview, and it was basically a floating ice cream.
Wow.
And I was just looking at it going, what even is this? As I was saying, Pokemon's kind of gone the same way as Simpsons, in the fact of the first couple of seasons were genuinely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
As they've gone on, it just seems like they've lost kind of what they were going for.
Yeah.
And it's going bizarre. Like, who was it? I think it was Brody on Twitter, actually, put up one, and it was a genuine bag of rubbish.
Yes, she said that was her hated one too.
Rubbish, I think it was called. And I'm sat there going, what is even going on? It's kind of hurting my childhood. I don't get it anymore. In answer to you, Graham, probably now that I've said it, Trubbish is now my most hated Pokemon, because it's now making me question my childhood.
Yeah, I'm just saying, way to fuck up an intellectual property, sticking eyes on a trash bag. Pokemon, in the words of, I'm going to paraphrase Daniel Cormier talking to John Jones. Pokemon, get your shit together. Just saying, and Brody says, do not go on social media, dude. It's everywhere in terms of the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Good thing my laptop's died.
Yeah, see? And you can't have her. She's Glasgow's now, so just saying.
She was Helensburgh's first, so you have to come and ask us if we can share her first. Then maybe we'll see. I mean, you can always. The East Coast has got Ellie, so I suppose Lawrence could be shared between the West Coast.
See, there's some what is it? Not concessions, but there's something where you're like you meet to a mutual agreement. It's a word.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on that word.
Deal.
Yeah, it's a deal. I like it. You know, and Trubbish is bad. I refer to him as trash on my interview because he's
Yeah,
that
I
bad.
heard that.
Same but different. No, 100%. And why does no one love Pokemon Onyx?
I liked Onyx originally, but I can't think of Onyx without thinking of Brock. And whenever I think of Brock, it kind of creeps me out these days with
Oh, yeah?
just how stalkerish she was of any person in a nurse or police outfit. It's kind of creepy. And then they also brought out a Metal Onyx, which confused me. Like, I stopped watching Pokemon not long after Johto League,
Uh-huh.
and then Kate got back into it when I was about my mid-20s,
Yeah?
and suddenly there's Steel type Pokemon, there's Fairy type Pokemon, there's all sorts, and I'm sat there going, "What has happened? What? Where's all this coming from? What? When did Onyx learn to evolve? How?"
So, yeah, and Brody says, Onyx is rocks with eyes, boys. Come on. He stinks. He sucks. He sucks. There you go. And then, yeah, and then Taylor is starting a feud. I'm just saying. And I know who the ref could be, Graham. I'm just saying. Right?
I don't know if is he starting a feud with Graham? Because in which case, you probably shouldn't start feuds with the referees. They kind of control things.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened with Nick Patrick back in WCW.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's, or Danny Davis, right, with the Hart Foundation.
Dan Davis, or as I referenced earlier, Derek Sabato and Chikara did the same.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
basically just screwed everyone over.
I'm just saying, yeah, it doesn't bode well, you know. And then seems like Pokemon news, so I'm gonna let you take this one, good sir.
Ah, okay. That's why I assume this came before the Tyler trying to start a feud.
Okay.
You're not, because I think this is Tyler trying to wind me up. In which case, Tyler, you're just wrong. Go to bed, boy. You're wrong.
Well, before he goes to bed, right? He probably wants to know what I want to know, right? If you were to book a dream match with anyone past and present against you, the Grapple Geek, Daihlan Hendry, what is that match? And where not just who will it be, but where does it take place? Because I think the venue, and sometimes it's fans pre-COVID era, that also was like almost the third person. So I want to know who it is and where is it taking place.
Ooh. Norman Smiley.
Ooh,
me,
I'm glad.
me and Norman Smiley. I'm trying to think. Do I go big or do I go intimate? More technical match. Wherever Bloodsport have been doing their
Undisclosed
their
location?
shows.
Yeah?
Yeah. The Bloodsport arena, me versus Norman Smiley would be incredible.
I like it.
I would have so much fun. I'd probably get stretched 10 days from Sunday.
Yeah.
But I would be loving every single minute of it.
I like that. You know what? So I might talk to a War Master to see.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I would be eternally grateful for that one.
Yeah.
So I did a seminar with Johnny Saint a while back, which.
Oh, you're telling me about this story. Come on, bring it on, brother.
Yeah.
Like
So
I'm a huge Billy Robinson, Johnny Saint guy.
Yeah.
So come on.
I loved it was him and Marty Jones both did a
Fucking goosebumps here, sir.
did an interview. I didn't really get to do much. I didn't do much with Marty Jones because he was with the more experienced. He was at that time. He was with the more experienced guys. They were doing their drills, but I got to basically be the grapple dummy for Johnny Saint to practice doing all to show everyone on our group how to do it, and that was probably one of my favorite things. Cause I loved just getting to meet Johnny Saint. It was incredible.
How is he? Like,
Johnny Saint is actually probably the nicest old man ever. Like, he would just go through it and put my body in so many weird positions and
yeah.
then wriggle out, and you're like, what? Where did they go? And all the time he had a smile on his face, and he was lovely. He was lovely. Didn't really speak a whole lot, but he was complimentary of us all.
I love that story. Like, and that's I'm not experienced enough to get Marty Jones running me through drills, but I get Johnny Saint.
Right, exactly.
Oh, like,
Exactly.
jeez.
I was so happy to let the time with Joyce. I think there's actually a picture of me that we're doing it, and there's just the biggest grin in my face as Johnny Saint's putting me in an abdominal stretch.
See, that's the way you do it. Like, and if it were me, I would have called it a career. Like, that's it.
Yep.
Like, there was one time, like, right after Ronda knocked out, Holly Holm knocked out Ronda Rousey in Australia,
Yep.
and then coming back, Herb Dean, who had ref that deal, I knew he was friends with the one of my coaches and what have you, and he would come in from time to time. But he actually came in, right?
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, whatever. And everybody pairs up, and I'm like, I'm not rolling with Herb Dean. He's a gorilla, right? And I mean, literally, like, pulled off like some of the biggest monsters of MMA and what have you. Like, there's no way, right? So
is he as huge as he looks on screen?
Yes, he is. I would say him and Barnett are probably about the same size. Same size, same build. Yeah. So, and then, he's got that added layer because he's got the dreadlocks and what have you, right? Yeah. So, he just looks massive, and he's just there in shorts and his shirt and whatever. And, and yeah, I'm like, I'm not rolling with Herb Dean or whatever. And it was a small class, and everybody had paired up. And I try to, like, go like I needed to take a piss break or something like that or whatever. And he just, like, motions me over, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh,
what did I
boy.
do? Yeah, so I roll with him or whatever, and I'm flailing. I'm still a white belt, right? Like, I'm still a white belt today, right? But I'm just flailing. I know about his, and
I only got my blue belt last year before the pandemic hit, so.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
a 6-year white belt, so.
Nice.
Yeah. Consistency is key. But yeah, so I rub, I roll with Herb, right? And I just know, like, at any moment, like, when you grapple with somebody and you just like, there's a difference. I would attribute it like Dean Lister. Dean Lister is built for jiu-jitsu. He's just like all combat. And as big and as strong as Herb Dean is, he rode really small. But you could feel his power. Like, yeah, you could feel the power, right? Like, he could just snap me like a twig, right? And then I'm literally like, my tongue is hanging out of my head like a long red necktie.
Yep.
Right? And I guess maybe I was on the spiritual wave because, like, right when I felt like I was going to die, the buzzer sounds, and we did 6-minute roll. And I'm like, wow. So he goes over at me, and he's like, you've rolled before. And I was like, oh shit, because prior to joining this gym, I was at a John Jacques Machado, like a husband and wife John Jacques Machado school.
Oh,
right?
cool.
So when, like, to me, like, I want a Naga title because I'm a pro wrestling fan first, right? Like, and I want that because that's metal's cool, bro. I wanted to be Bret Hart. So
exactly.
I'm only doing comps with belts. Like, that's what it. So and I was just like, I'm done. Like for 2 weeks, I was just like, not that I felt like hotter than shit, but I was just like, I was walking on sunshine.
Yeah, no, I can completely understand that one. I was the same. My first Taekwondo competition. We had a thing, and one of the girls that was in the sort of room
Yeah.
was Joanne Calderwood.
Wow, JoJo, bad mofo Joe. Shout out to
So
JoJo.
I was incredibly shocked. It was a I think it was a WKA event, if I remember
Yeah.
rightly. So, and she was, I don't think she was competing at the time. I think she was like one of the guests, not judges, but they sometimes bring in like guest adjudicators and stuff. So I think she was there, and I was sat there going, "Oh, that I just like in my head was sat there going, I just want to see her spar because that would
Yeah.
be." Like
Yeah.
she's even then she'd been on the scene for like the local Glasgow scene for years
Yeah.
and was a killer. Now to see her now in the UFC,
Yeah.
and I don't know if have they announced the flyweight that she do. 'Cause I know they originally were going to do the number one contender fight. I don't know if they actually did it.
Yeah, I mean Joe coming off of that her last fight a dominant win, right? So
Yeah,
I'm not sure how it's shaking out, right? Because I think the flyweight scene in the UFC is just like, I mean, it's at times it gets a little bit thin, but then
yeah,
also it's a weird one, right? But I would
yeah.
love to see it. Her
I
in
was her and Valentina would be so
yes,
much fun.
yes,
Even
yeah.
I'd still like to see her and Nunez if Nunez decides to come down to 125 if she could, because that would be
Mm.
fun.
I'd actually see like Joe moving up to 135 and going for the bantamweight. That'd be cool.
That could be fun as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I just want like, with Nunez as well. There's not too many people that she can fight at the moment that you can believe and go. You might have trouble there, but with JoJo's striking,
yeah,
I could see I could totally see it as if she works out if she keeps her takedown defense up,
yeah,
she could actually be quite a great wee challenger for Nunez.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd
That
be
might just
cool.
be my Scottish pride though. To be fair as well.
No, I
Uh,
don't think you're wrong because again, anybody that saw Joe's last, JoJo Calderwood's last fight, hey, you're not off. You're not off at all. And she's
yeah,
been kind of supplementing at Extreme Couture in Vegas,
yeah.
so so just saying it could happen. It could happen. And Graham says in terms of you and Norman Smiley at Bloodsport, that's not his dream match. It's his wet dream. Which
He's
okay,
not wrong. He's
all
not
right.
wrong. I'm not.
Then I'm there
I'm.
too. Then I'm just saying I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. Look,
Yeah. Now, Graham, ever the stirrer says, Daihlan, do you have any funny road stories?
funny food stories.
You gotta have some. I know you do.
I probably, to be honest, I probably do. I'm just trying to think of them. It's obviously with COVID and everything. It's been so long since we've. Again, my memories with being dropped in my head for the last 6 years. Yeah, my memory's not what it used to be. Let me think. There's been a couple of actually like going up to Caithness for see. It used to be Caithness Pro Wrestling. They're now Combat League Wrestling. So shout out to them. We're going up with Robbie Wishart, Glendon Barr, and Lucha DS coming up. Some of the banter coming. We'd spend majority of the time just taking the mick out each other, or coming up with ridiculous match ideas.
Mhm.
So, or Manlin's Manlin's always in the car as well. It was me and him decided to make a postman gimmick who was going to be the world champion at some point. I have Shark Boy and Road Warrior Animal become a tag team called the Animal Kingdom. Also decided I wanted New Jack just as like the main antagonist, and just basically cause as much chaos as possible. And now I've just had a thought of having Teddy Hart and New Jack as a tag team.
Oh, yes. What would you call?
The Trolls of professional wrestling.
I was going to say the Heart of Jacks.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
The Jack of Hearts.
Jack of Hearts. There you go, too. Oh, yes. Oh, I can think about merch opportunities all about. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. I mean, good. Your road stories are that way, or rather than like the Adrian Adonis road story. That didn't end out so well, right? No. But it's funny because you were talking about like the postman gimmick and what have you. Do you know about Vern Gagne, right?
Vern Gagne? I'm trying to think. I know who he is. Yeah, of course.
So Vern Gagne of the AWA, which again, a lot of people talk about, NWA and everything, and they have super bias because how could AWA, how could WCCW, World Class Championship Wrestling was, but like literally those guys in the AWA, they just did like, what is it, the Dakotas, Minnesota, and that was pretty much like they were like a one city territory that everybody was home. They had off seasons. He was like so far ahead of his time, but there was Kenny J, right? Mm-hmm. Kenny J was billed as the Sodbuster. Do you know why?
No.
Because he laid sod, which is the grass kind of partitions that that's what, he laid sod on Vern Gagne's palatial estate in Minnesota.
That is so cool.
Yes. So you're not off. Jake the Mailman Millman. Again.
Was he the postman?
Yes, he was.
He was a postman.
Yes. George Scrap Iron Gadaski. Mm-hmm. He collected scrap iron around Minnesota.
That's amazing.
So you're not wrong. I mean, Vern Gagne, again, when a lot of people, I'm a weird one, right? Where like everybody's like, Ric Flair was so great. I'm not saying that he isn't, right? But even for the gimmick, he wasn't the best one to do that gimmick. I would even say it would be Nick Bockwinkel, right? Where Flair was like that 1980s like Wolf of Wall Street kind of aficionado and what have you, right? But in terms of like an aristocrat, Bockwinkel was better, much better.
He just held himself the way he holds himself, and as he was like walking to the ring and everything, you could tell that he'd had an upper class. He was raised upper class at least, or at least that's how he portrayed himself.
So that's me. Like, and of all the things that like people are trying to look and rehash and redo of like a bygone era, why has nobody, with all, especially the number of variations of drop kicks, why no one has yet, since Vern Gagne stopped doing his own, the Vern Gagne drop kick? Have you seen the Vern?
Yeah, I know. I've seen the Vern Gagne do it. Now thinking about it, yeah, you're right. There's not many people. I don't think I've seen anyone do it since.
No, that's how great, and that's how little people kind of go back into history. Like AWA, that entire territory, the Dusty got his start. Murdoch got his start. Like that. Oh my God! Like that's to me, that's and like
obviously. Vern came from a grappling background as well, so again, they started with, as you're trained with the holds and making sure they looked as deadly as possible before moving on to the big moves.
Yeah.
I loved that sort of thing from back then, because it was like, it just makes if you ground it in reality, it just makes everything else seem bigger.
Right. Absolutely. I I couldn't agree with you more, because people who do it well, there's no wonder why they're the top of the card wherever they
Yeah,
wrestled. So
exactly.
I knew this was coming. Graham says, "Well, I do remember you and Andy's wild match that I had to ref. I thought, how am I going to get control of this grappler and bloody Andy Wild?"
Yeah. So for guys that don't know, Andy is 6'3", 6'3", and at that point, I think he's now dieted down to 235. So
Wow.
and he was a wee and like, I love you, Graham, but I think you at that point you were about 10 stone. So yeah, you would have probably had a little bit of trouble stopping Andy.
Oh. Oh.
Controlling me. You were never going to do. That wasn't going to happen, unfortunately, buddy.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I'd probably just laugh at you, regardless.
Oh. Ouch. First cut is the deepest. I mean, Rod Stewart said it first, and then it was later redone by Sheryl Crow. First cut is the deepest, and
Yeah.
that's. And Graham says 8.5 stone. He
Ah,
helps you know.
okay.
Yeah. So there you go. And my dude, what has been your best moment in your wrestling career? Doesn't it? And it doesn't need to be in the ring, says our friend Brody Adler.
Best moment.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, my best moment's probably my debut. The whole lead up. So for me, it took me 3 years to make my debut. More like, when I first started, I'd actually stopped grappling for a wee while leading up to it.
Wow.
So I was a wee bit out of shape going in. So when I started, I was 25 stone. So I was really out of shape at the time. So I came in, and I couldn't, like, I'd forgotten how to do a forward and backwards roll by that point,
Whoa.
just because I was that heavy. So it took me 3 years to work up to it, and then I got my debut on a showcase, and that whole day I was in a mess.
Yeah.
Like, in the lead up to it, like, I've got a bad habit, in like, even to this day, for competitions, I get really, really bad nerves going into it. Like, I get full on stage fright a lot of the time. So, like, on the lead up to the match, I was in a state of walking around, basically trying to distract myself from everything.
Uh-huh.
But did the match? The match went great. Got to backstage and I burst into tears.
Oh.
I just burst completely into tears, and like, more no, it was complete happy tears. But
Yeah.
I was just so relieved that I didn't embarrass myself on the first time.
Yeah.
And like, the first time's always the proudest moment.
Yeah. I like it. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. And you got it down and out of the way. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, yeah. And Nate says, thank you for brightening my day with the show, Adam Woods and Daihlan Hendry. It's been very entertaining. Thank you, Nate. And thank
Thank you
you
for
guys.
listening, buddy.
Yeah, bud. Yes, I was at your debut as a fan and loved it. That's pretty cool.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Cheers, Graham.
Yeah, see, and it just and look at the cool things that Graham has done in his career, and
Yeah, exactly.
it's come full circle.
That is amazing.
That's so great. Shout out to Graham. Which, I mean, Daihlan, there have been so many people, both professionally and personally, that have helped you get here. So, without any further ado, take as long as you like, my man. Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
So first, the first shout out and the biggest one, Source Wrestling School. Like without Source, not only would wrestling not be a thing I was doing, but just in general, my general life has been affected with Source. If like when I first started, I was fairly shy and I just hid from everyone.
Yeah.
And because of the stuff I've not even in the ring, just as a person from Source, I've now got my fiance, I've got my wee baby girl. Like I can't thank Source enough for everything. Big shout out to all my coaches. So from the top, we've got Nikki Cross, Damien O'Connor, or Killian Dane in WWE now.
Yeah.
Mikey Whiplash, Robbie Solar, or Robert Wishart, David Devlin. Yous have all been incredible. Everyone that I've been in the ring with, everyone that I've trained with, thank you. Just thank you, everyone.
I love it. And Graham says, "Yep, Source builds machines."
Source, yeah, that is the school. That is essentially the school's motto. We are like the talent coming through at this moment in time is incredible, and like I don't particularly see myself as the most talented in the world. Like I'm good at what I do. I'm very good at what I do. But I wasn't born with innate talent. Some of the kids that are coming through now are genuine talent. And some of the with a wee bit of experience, they are going to be incredible.
I love it. That's cool to see, and you kind of worked yourself into like the elder statesman type deal of that school.
I think that's the dad coming out in me at this point.
Yeah.
I've been around. Like another big shout out I need to give is Glendon Bar. Like as far as daddy of the school, Dunbar is probably the most beloved man, not only in Scottish wrestling and not even in Source, but just in the world. Like, if you can't find a better mentor on planet Earth than Glendon Bar, like, and he lives, and he'll no doubt wind me up for saying this, but the man deserves absolutely everything.
I love it. That's cool. Giving admiration for folks that are still here. Well, that's one of the things when fortunately Lionheart passed away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like the appreciation, or Brody Lee, right? The appreciation that
exactly.
I hope they knew in life, some of the people that appreciated them and how integral that they were, not just to their careers but their life. So cool.
I never got the pleasure to really talk to Lionheart much, but with everything that everyone said and everyone's gone, like I hope with all my heart that he knew at least somewhere in there just how much, because like the amount of people that have talked about how much he affected them is just incredible.
No, absolutely. His legacy lives on. I kind of choke up a little bit every time I see Viper or Piper Niven.
Yeah.
And she has the armband still.
Exactly. Like, Piper was actually on my team in my debut match.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like my debut actually came around with. So I had on my side there was Tom Fulton, DCT, Piper, and myself up against Killian Day or
Yeah.
Damien O'Connor at that point, Killian Day now,
Yeah.
Bobby Roberts, Adam Carell, and Craig Byers, and it was I still love that match. It was incredible. But also on that same show, we had like NXT UK's Isla Dawn,
Yeah.
like made her debut the same night I did. Joe
Really?
Hendry, Joe Hendry made the same debut that day as well. So he's now Impact ROH.
Yeah.
So seeing those guys go on is amazing. Like the fact that I got to debut alongside those two and to see where they come from. Admittedly, at first it took me like I kind of judged myself on my peers, so it took a wee bit to thingy. But
Yeah.
now it's a complete 180 and it's a complete inspiration. Like to see, like I started by watching ROH, and now seeing Joe on ROH
Yeah.
is amazing. Like if they can do it, there's no reason why any of us can't. It's just a case of working until we get there.
Yeah. That's it. That's all it is. At the end of the day, a little bit goes a long way in terms of work and work ethic. So whether it be pro wrestling or anything that you do, you gotta put in the work. You don't
Yeah, exactly.
begrudge. I mean, I am far from the best podcaster around, right? But I look at all my friends that do it, and even people
Yeah.
like Rogan and Joey Diaz who do it even, bigger and more grandeur.
Yeah.
And I'm all like, I've got some work, and of those people are there because they deserve to be there. One,
Exactly.
but if I want to get even like a quarter of what they have, I have to do probably 8 times as much work as they did
Yeah.
in the same situation. So, all right,
Yeah.
let's get to work.
Yeah, it's like Haikyuu. One of the quotes of Haikyuu that I've always kind of quite liked is, "We are made up from the small things we do every day.
Mm-hmm.
The results are nothing more than a byproduct."
Mm-hmm.
Like routine, making sure we get the work done. If we work hard, we are going to get where we want to go. That's just how things go. As long as you put the work in, we will manage whatever we want.
I love it. That's awesome. It's so true. It's so simplistic, but with the hubbub of everything that goes around us as human beings and everything, we kind of lose sight of it. But thank you for the reminder, dude.
Yeah, it's something I need to make sure I remind myself at all times because, again, I'm possibly the worst at. I am probably the worst at double guessing myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm no doubt that after this podcast, I'll spend another half an hour going, right, did I come off across okay there? Did I do that all right? We'll see. I'll no doubt end up spending about 20 minutes on Twitter going, right, have I offended anyone here?
Yeah. I'm gonna make sure you did it. That's what I do. Yeah. I want my friends to come over and have a fun time. Kick back.
I've had a great time. This is probably the most socializing I've done in about a year. It's been fantastic.
See, that's it, and that's what we do. Which to continue with the socializing, how could they find for people that don't already know how to find the Grapple Geek, Daihlan Hendry? Where can they find you on social media, my man?
On social media, I'm DH Wrestling 92 on Twitter. Is it D Hendry 1992 on Facebook? Grapple Geek on YouTube, and Instagram Daihlan.Hendry.
Yeah, and guess what? guys, I kind of figured he was going to say that. So if you look in the description of this very video, you will see the links, the actual links to everything that Daihlan has just said. So just saying.
Listen, thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, but thank you, Daihlan Henry, for joining us here. I mean, guys, this is kind of cool for me. Like different types of like catch wrestlers and different ways to do that gimmick, like the Timothy Thatcher and what have you, the Johnny Saint and what have you. You have done something that even they haven't done, was combine that gimmick, the traditional old school traditionalist, with that of Pokemon and
Yes.
like I just think what you do is incredible. I can't wait to see
Thank you.
what you do, and thank you for having us along for the ride is what I say.
Well, thank you for having me on, Adam. It's been fantastic.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you, and thank you guys. Graham Farrell says thank you guys. Thank you, Graham. Which
Thank you, Graham.
yeah, thank you for the video, and I will in turn. You're coming on here. Like this is 2-0, right? With Brody, and then now with Daihlan. Graham, we're getting you on here. So just so you know, so look for that, folks. But where you can look for that is if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And I mean, Daihlan, you're subscribed, aren't you?
Yeah, of course I'm.
Dang
Got
right.
now you got you Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Oh, funnily enough, I only updated my Twitch thing yesterday. Like, because I am again, I need to actually watch more Twitch. At the moment, it is just Football Manager videos I can watch.
Hey, there you go. That's not a bad deal, and it's cool, right? Where everything that you need, and anything that you might have been ostracized for before, you can find it in like on the interwebs at the tips of your fingers, and have not just that, but also the community behind you. The community behind you. So, at a time where. We're all seeking different forms of community because of what the year has brought us, it's cool. It's cool that we can be communal with each other.
Yeah, it's cool that, and it does seem that the more chaos outside, it seems that each little community has kind of just go closer and closer together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has been lovely. It's probably the biggest positive out of all the coronavirus things, is that everyone seems to be getting closer in these wee communities. Because let's face it, we've got nothing else to do at this moment, do we?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So get close. Which Brody says, "Don't encourage him, Adam." There you go. And too late, says Graham. Yeah, they're gonna give you the business. But again, thank you guys for joining us here at According to Woods, and subscribe to both of the channels, right? Both Daihlan's as well as mine. Yeah, and if you don't believe me, well, here's another. And you don't believe Daihlan, well, guess what? Here's another pro wrestler to convince you. And that pro wrestler, Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to According to